Welcome back to Multi-Mind, Mental Wellness for the Multi-Hyphenate. I'm Artis Desjardins. Last week we talked about strategic energy allocation when you have limited time. This week we're talking about something that creates just as much mental stress. How do you build multiple revenue streams when you're operating on a single income budget? Because here's the reality. Most business advice assumes you have capital to invest. Hire a VA, buy that software, invest in that course, run those ads. But when you're building while employed, or when your ventures aren't cash flow positive yet, you're trying to grow multiple businesses on the income from one source. And the mental gymnastics of that are trying to fund 3 different ventures with money that's already allocated to living expenses. That's what we're unpacking today. I'm sitting at my desk on a Sunday afternoon, looking at my business budget spreadsheet. After rent, bills, food, and basic living expenses, I've got about $400 that I can allocate to business growth this month. And I'm staring at this list. My consulting business could really use a proper CRM system. The free version I'm using is clunky, and I'm probably losing potential clients because I can't track follow-ups effectively. That's $50 a month. My YouTube content would improve dramatically with better audio. I've been using my wired lav mic. A decent microphone is $150 one-time purchase. I could run some targeted ads to actually get consulting clients instead of just hoping someone finds me. That's at least $200 to test if it even works. Or I could invest in a business course on scaling consulting services. $297 to potentially scale my business by 10 times its size. Or I should probably just save it because next month something might come up and I'll need that buffer. But here's the problem. All of those investments make sense. All of them could move my business forward, but I can only choose 1, maybe 2 if I stretch. And while I'm sitting here running these calculations, trying to figure out ROI on investments I haven't even made yet, I'm not actually moving forward on any of them. I'm just anxious about money I barely have. This is when I realize the mental load isn't just about money. It's about the constant calculation of opportunity costs across multiple ventures. And that calculation is happening in the background of my mind all the time, draining energy I need for actual work. Here's what makes this so mentally exhausting. Every dollar you invest in one venture is a dollar you're not investing in another. Single venture entrepreneurs face this too. But they're making one calculation. You're making 3 or 5 or 7. If I invest at $150 in a microphone for content creation, that's $150 I'm not putting towards consulting software. If I spend $200 testing ads, that's $200 I'm not using for a business course that could teach me how to scale. The opportunity cost compounds across every venture you're building. And here's what makes it worse. You're operating from scarcity. When you're building on a single income budget from your 9 to 5, every investment feels high risk. You can't afford to waste money on something that doesn't work. You can't experiment freely. You can't just try and see because that money has to last you into the next paycheck. And if you invest wrong, you don't have backup capital. Plus, the ROI timelines are all different. That CRM might pay off immediately if it helps me close more clients. The microphone might take 6 months to show ROI through better content leading to audience growth. The business course might not pay off for a year. So you're trying to decide, do I invest for short-term revenue, long-term growth, or split the difference and feel like I'm underfunding everything? This isn't a financial planning problem. This is a mental bandwidth problem. And it's happening in the background of your mind all the time, draining energy you need for actual work. Here's what I've learned about funding multiple ventures on a single income. You can't build everything simultaneously. You have to stage it, but not randomly, strategically. So here's the framework. Stage 1, identify your revenue critical venture. Ask yourself which venture, if it started generating consistent revenue in the next 3 to 6 months, would most significantly change your situation. For me, it's consulting, because consulting has the shortest path to revenue. I can land a client this month and get paid next month. Content creation has a higher long-term potential, but the revenue timeline is longer. So consulting gets first investment priority, not all of my budget, but the majority, because revenue creates more investment capital. If I can get consulting cash flow positive, it funds content creation growth later. I choose a CRM, $50 a month, because it helps me land even one extra client over 3 months. It's paid for itself 10 times over. Stage 2, define investment versus expense. This is critical. Not every dollar you spend is an investment. Return compounds over time. software that saves 5 hours a week, a course that teaches a skill you'll use forever, equipment that improves quality permanently, expense necessary but doesn't compound, monthly subscriptions you're not fully using, one-time marketing that might not work, services you can't scale. I prioritize investments in my revenue critical venture first, then essential expenses across all ventures, then optional investments in growth ventures. Here's how I actually allocate that $400. $50 a month for consulting CRM, $15 a month for website hosting, $150 saved towards the microphone, $185 emergency business buffer. Not sexy, not aggressive, but strategic. Stage 3. Use free and or bootstrap until it breaks. Most business tools have free versions. Most strategies don't require capital. I didn't upgrade to paid software until the free version literally couldn't handle my volume anymore. I don't hire help until I've personally done the task enough times that I know exactly what I need. And why? Because when you're building on limited capital, every dollar you don't spend is a dollar you can invest when it actually matters. I see multi-hyphenates spend $2,000 in courses before they have their first client. That's backwards. Bootstrap until the constraint is clear, then invest precisely. I used free Notion for a year before I needed the paid version. I used Canva free until I was creating enough content to justify the upgrade. I recorded on my phone before investing in equipment. Stage 4, quarterly investment reviews. Every quarter, I review which venture generated the most revenue, which investments actually paid off, what's the one investment that would have the biggest impact next quarter. I make one significant investment per quarter, not 5, just one. Because when you're working with limited capital, focus is everything. Scattershot investing across all ventures means you're underfunding everything. Concentrated investment in the right place at the right time moves the needle. And so here's the mental shift. The goal isn't to fund all your ventures equally. The goal is to strategically underfund some ventures so you can meaningfully fund the ones that matter most right now. That's not neglect, that's strategy. And it's how you build multiple revenue streams when you're starting with a single income source. Here's your integration work for this week. Map your revenue stages. Step 1, list all your ventures. Step 2, for each venture, answer, what's the shortest path to $500 a month revenue? What's the shortest path to $2,000 a month revenue? How much capital investment would meaningfully accelerate that path? And step 3, identify your revenue critical venture. Which one, if it hit $2,000 a month consistently, would most change the situation? That's stage 1. That gets primary investment focus. Step 4, make one investment decision this month. What's the one thing you can invest in, time or money, that would move your revenue critical venture forward? Not 5 things, one. Then track it. Did it work? Did it pay off? Did it move the needle? Because what I've learned is trying to fund everything equally means you're funding nothing effectively. But strategic stage investment, that's how you build multiple revenue streams without capital you don't have. You're not thinking too small. You're being strategic with the resources you actually have. And that's how you get from one income source to multiple income sources without going into debt or burning out. Next week, we're talking about future vision as fuel. Staying motivated when your business isn't paying yet. Because when you're building towards a future that isn't here yet, staying motivated without external pressure is its own challenge. If you're managing the mental load of funding multiple ventures on a limited capital, I want you to know you're not moving too slowly, you're being strategic. And stage investment is how sustainable businesses are actually built. If you want to be a part of this podcast, submit a voice note or message. Go to multimindpodcast.com and tell me, what's your biggest challenge with funding multiple ventures? How do you decide where to invest? Keep it under 60 seconds. If this framework helped you think differently about investment priorities, subscribe for next week's episode on motivation, leave a rating or review, and share with the multi-hyphenate managing limited capital. If you want more in-depth business content to take you further in your multi-hyphenate journey, visit my YouTube channel, Artis Desjardins. Link will be in the show notes. And if you want to work together one-on-one, head to artisdesjardins.com. Remember, your mental wellness doesn't have a side hustle. It's the main event. I'm Artis, and this is Multi-Mind. I'll see you next week.